Imagine for a moment the unthinkable, a nuclear apocalypse. Do you think rats could survive such an event? Let's paint a picture here. We're talking about a nuclear explosion, an event so powerful it can obliterate cities in the blink of an eye. The heat, the shockwaves, the radiation, all combine to create a destructive force unparalleled in human history. This is not just a disaster but an apocalypse, a complete and utter devastation that few things could weather. Now, let's add another element to this picture: rats. Yes, those little critters that scurry around in the dark corners of our cities and homes. These creatures, often seen as pests, have an uncanny ability to survive in the most inhospitable environments. They are resilient, adaptable, and tenacious. But could they survive a nuclear apocalypse? It seems like a far-fetched idea, doesn't it? But hold on, the idea isn't as outlandish as it might first appear. The natural world is full of surprises, and the resilience of life is one of its most remarkable features. There are creatures on this planet that can survive in the most extreme conditions, from the crushing depths of the ocean to the freezing void of space. And rats, as it turns out, are among the most adaptable creatures on Earth. They have evolved to survive in a wide range of environments, and their ability to reproduce quickly and in large numbers gives them a distinct advantage in the face of disaster. So when we ask the question, could rats survive a nuclear apocalypse? We're not just speculating wildly. We're considering the remarkable resilience of life, and the surprising ways in which it can adapt to even the most extreme circumstances. Intriguing, right? But what makes us think rats could survive? Let's delve into the science behind nuclear explosions. Nuclear explosions are not your average explosions. They involve complex physics and extreme temperatures. To understand the magnitude of a nuclear explosion, we first need to grasp the concept of nuclear fission. It's a process where the nucleus of an atom, typically uranium or plutonium, is split into two smaller nuclei. This split releases a tremendous amount of energy in the form of heat and light, resulting in a colossal explosion. But it doesn't stop there. The fission process also releases additional neutrons, which can then trigger more fission reactions, creating a chain reaction that magnifies the destructive power. Now let's talk about the immense heat and radiation produced by a nuclear explosion. The heat at the center of the blast can reach temperatures hotter than the surface of the sun, instantly incinerating anything in its immediate vicinity. This heat also causes a rapid expansion of air, creating a shock wave that travels at supersonic speeds, causing widespread destruction. The radiation produced during a nuclear explosion is also a significant factor. Two types of radiation are released: initial radiation, which is emitted within the first minute after the explosion, and residual radiation, which is emitted later and forms part of the radioactive fallout. This fallout consists of tiny radioactive particles that are carried by the wind and can contaminate large areas, posing a serious health risk to all forms of life. The aftermath of a nuclear explosion is just as devastating. The fallout can cause long-term damage to the environment, making it uninhabitable for years, even decades. It can contaminate water sources, kill vegetation, and cause a host of health problems in surviving creatures, including cancer and genetic mutations. All these elements combined make nuclear explosions one of the most devastating events that can occur on our planet. The heat, the shockwave, the radiation, and the fallout all contribute to a level of destruction that is almost unimaginable. So the question remains, could any creature withstand such devastation? Let's turn our attention to the humble rat. Scene script. Rats, often seen as pests, may have some hidden advantages when it comes to surviving a nuclear apocalypse. Now, you might be scratching your heads thinking, rats? Really? But hear me out, these little creatures are a lot tougher than they look. Let's dive into some of the biological features of rats that could potentially aid their survival in such extreme conditions. Firstly, let's talk about their reproduction rate. Rats reproduce at an astonishingly high rate. A single pair of rats can produce around 60 offspring in just 1 year. This rapid rate of reproduction could help them rebuild their population swiftly, even after a devastating event like a nuclear explosion. Next, consider their adaptability. Rats can live almost anywhere. They've been found thriving in cities, forests, grasslands, and even in the most uninhabitable of places like landfills. This ability to adapt to a wide range of environments could come in handy when their traditional habitats are wiped out. But perhaps the most surprising of all is their resistance to radiation. Studies have shown that rats can withstand higher levels of radiation than most mammals, including humans. They might not be completely immune, but their bodies can repair some of the damage caused by radiation exposure a lot faster. This could be a game changer in a post-nuclear world. Now, I don't want to paint an overly rosy picture here. It's still a nuclear apocalypse we're talking about. But these biological features do give rats a fighting chance. They're survivors, and they've been around for millions of years, adapting and evolving to overcome all sorts of challenges. With such unique characteristics, rats could indeed have a fighting chance. But what does this mean in the grand scheme of things? Well, stick around as we further explore this intriguing question in the next scene. It's going to be a wild ride, so don't go anywhere. Scene script. Picture a post-apocalyptic world, where rats may be one of the few surviving species. It's a chilling thought, isn't it? Yet, it's a scenario that we need to explore. In such a world, the rat population could potentially flourish. With their unique biological features and survival instincts, they are poised to become the dominant species, should such a catastrophe occur. What role would rats play in this new world? Well, for starters, they would be the primary scavengers. With their sharp teeth and strong jaws, rats can chew through practically anything. This includes the remnants of our civilization, our homes, our infrastructure, everything that we've built. They would be the recyclers of our world, reducing our once great cities to rubble and dust over time. But rats wouldn't just be scavengers, they would also be the engineers of the new world. Their burrowing and nesting habits would reshape the landscape, creating new habitats not only for themselves but for other surviving species as well. Rats are also known for their adaptability. They can live in nearly any environment, from the hottest deserts to the coldest tundras. This adaptability would serve them well in a post-apocalyptic world, allowing them to thrive in conditions that would be inhospitable to most other species. What's more, rats reproduce at an astonishing rate. A single pair of rats can produce up to 2,000 descendants in just 1 year. In a world devoid of their natural predators, their population could explode, further cementing their dominance. Finally, let's not forget about evolution. In this harsh new world, rats could potentially evolve into new forms, better suited to their environment. They could grow larger, develop new traits, and become something entirely different from the rats we know today. It's a grim picture, but it's a possibility we cannot ignore. Let's summarize what we've learned so far. So as we delve further into the realm of the theoretical, let's keep in mind that while this prospect might seem frightening, it's also a testament to the resilience and adaptability of life on Earth. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the science of nuclear explosions to the surprising resilience of rats. We started by investigating the question, could rats survive a nuclear explosion? And to answer this, we delved into the science of nuclear explosions. We discovered how these powerful weapons release a staggering amount of energy, causing widespread destruction and producing harmful radiation. This radiation, we learned, is particularly dangerous because it can cause damage to living cells, potentially leading to death or long-term health problems. Next, we turned our attention to rats, those common creatures we often overlook. We found that rats possess some unique survival traits that could potentially help them survive in the aftermath of a nuclear explosion. Sturdy and adaptable, rats are known for their ability to thrive in a wide range of environments and conditions. They're also quick breeders, which could help their population recover more rapidly post-apocalypse. We also explored the concept of a post-apocalyptic world, a scenario often depicted in popular culture. After a nuclear explosion, the environment would be drastically altered, with radiation levels remaining high for many years. Despite these harsh conditions, we learned that some life forms like rats might have a chance to survive and even thrive. We've also touched on the idea of genetic mutations caused by radiation exposure, a factor that could potentially lead to new species or altered traits in surviving organisms. While this concept might seem straight out of a science fiction movie, it's grounded in scientific theory. So, to answer our initial question, could rats survive a nuclear explosion? It's not a definitive yes or no. They might survive the initial blast depending on their proximity, and their survival traits could potentially help them live in a post-apocalyptic world. However, the long-term effects of radiation on their population are uncertain. So, could rats survive a nuclear explosion? It seems possible, but let's hope we never have to find out. Until next time, keep asking questions and seeking answers.